Hello, welcome to Cinemondo with Kathy and Amit. We saw the go live. I was very excited. I didn't think I was gonna be able to see it, and I finally got to see it. I made it. Yep, did it.
Happy you did. It was yeah,
close
it
call.
was definitely worth seeing it. It was definitely worth it.
I'm very glad I saw it because I'd heard a lot about it. We've covered a lot. Like we've covered
Yeah.
the trailers, we've covered a song. It's like, and I love the whole feel of it. I love survival type movies in general. And then I've become a big Prithviraj fan because he's been so great in a bunch of movies lately. He's a big rising star.
Yeah,
Great.
that's right. Yeah, I think you've seen probably more of him than I have, even with his last big movie, which was Salar, right? Which
Salar,
I
yes.
didn't even watch that in the end.
No, and he was so like buff and hot. No, he was not hot in this. Not hot. He was hot temperature wise. And he was not hot in a hot way. But that is not what this movie is about. It's a little more thoughtful than that. Salar, I think. But so yeah, this is that movie directed by Blessy. It had been in production for like years. Took them forever. Like and pandemic interrupted it. There was all kinds of production issues, but they finally did it, and I see why now, because they shot in such a hostile location. Number one. And having to coordinate all those actors and all the production to come back over and over again to other locations like that. Oh
my God. Yeah, impressive. Yes. Really impressive.
And we saw that walkthrough with the author when he talked about the movie, the behind the scenes, which was amazing. And I'm really glad I saw that before I saw the movie, because it really brought a lot more depth to the story, hearing him talk about it. But so let's get into it. This will be mostly non-spoiler, maybe some light spoilers, but I don't want to spoil it because it's brand new and I don't like to spoil movies that people haven't seen yet and may not be able to see till streaming. So we're keeping it kind of light. I mean, we all know he gets into some shit in this movie. So that's not good.
Yeah.
So this is a book written by Benyamin.
Benyamin.
Based on a true story about Najeeb. And he was basically among thousands of Indian immigrants who were enslaved by Arabs in Saudi Arabia, kind of basically abducted at airports going, oh yeah, I'm your boss. And they just, whisk them away. And they're like, what's happening? And they're not sure, because they were going to Saudi Arabia for money. He wanted to help support his family, and you get paid a little more there. So he did have a legitimate job, but he hit up the wrong guy because no one speaks the language. So it wasn't good.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate situation. Very unfortunate. And the thing this movie does is, like, it really just drops you in sort of the world straight away. Like there's no moments of levity. This movie is completely just it takes you on that journey basically of Najeeb's. It's a psychological journey, it's an emotional journey, it's a physical journey. He has to sort of walk through the desert. There's so many elements to it.
Yeah.
But overall, like, just the theme of this movie with the sort of immigration and the aspect of it.
Oh God.
It's really just heartbreaking to know that this actually happened and actually probably still happens.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it's heartbreaking to hear this, because I've done a review on my channel actually just yesterday, but I had some pretty good comments, and someone in my comment section actually mentioned the fact that their father actually got trapped in the system. And he was he was imprisoned for a while. And even after that, he got sent. So he was from Kerala, and he got sent to a random city in India. So they just sent him to Lucknow, which is north of India, with no money, nothing.
And
it's very, very far. Yeah, they're just like, okay, you're deported, go here and find out what to do. So it's honestly inhumane.
What the
the stuff that
hell?
happens.
And why? I mean, you know why in this situation they just want cheap labor, basically slaves, and they just abuse these guys, and they're basically take away any of their identification. They can't leave the country. They can't get anywhere. So they're stuck. I love how, like you were talking about, they drop you right in. You're at the airport. You you walk out of the airport. You're like, where am I? What's going on? You don't understand anything. You're very disoriented, and they are too.
Yes.
And then this guy's like being very pushy, like, oh yeah, give me your luggage. And he's dragging them over to this truck. And they're like, I guess this is right. And they're trying to be kind of, yeah, this is right. And no one understood anyone, and they pretended like they didn't. No. They didn't. So they get taken away, literally abducted. Like, it's the middle of the night. They're in this truck, and they throw one of them out at this other spot, like this remote, scary looking farm or something.
Yeah.
And he's screaming like, no, and he takes away his friend. And I'm like, I cannot imagine how terrifying that would be to be just left. Oh, yeah, so scary. So then he gets taken away, and then the shit goes down. So basically, they put him to work, and it's really grueling, terrible work.
It's terrible. And the part that makes it strange to me is this is like the most disorganized form of slavery I think I've ever seen in my life. Like, for one, so you're kidnapping people to like basically just be sheep herders and like tend to animals. Okay,
And they
that's
have
great.
families. I mean, people would be looking
Yeah,
for them. I mean, it just seemed really high risk.
I know. And then the whole language thing, like
Yeah.
this is not helpful for anybody. No one can understand anything going on. Like, why would you go like that?
Yeah.
Imagine getting a slave and being like, I can't even communicate with you to tell you what you're meant to do, and you're getting angry at them for not understanding you.
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect? like
In a way,
what
I
do you
think
expect?
they like it because they feel like it puts distance. They get to be really sadistic, and basically to teach
I
them how
guess
to
so.
do
It's
stuff, they
inhumane.
basically just beat them,
Yeah.
starve them, don't give them water. And they're like, just do your job, and they hit them and throw them down and knock them out. And they're just like, just do it. And he's like, what am I doing? It's like, what am I doing with these goats? There's a bunch of goats. What am I supposed to do? I don't know how to herd goats. They're like, just do it.
Yeah.
This was one of my favorite scenes, and because I love animals, something I
I think
loved about
yeah,
this
no.
movie is the animals were so good in this. It's like I
Yeah,
love that they were
they
like
were.
his friends. Like he got very close to the animals. He was very gentle with them. The animals seemed to like him. Like I love that he was surrounding himself with these animals. He would pet the camels. He would, and there's the one scene starting early on where he's sent in to herd goats. And he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's like, and he gets knocked down and he doesn't understand
By the ram.
between two rams, they're fighting each other in the middle of it. It's not going to be good. And it wasn't. And then so
No.
he stands up and all the goats run away. They're like, they're afraid of him. And he's like, what? And the guys up there yelling at him. It's just because it's so chaotic. This
Yeah.
what the cutest goat I have
I
ever
know. I
seen
love
in
that
my
one.
entire life. He's kind of fluffy little legs, black and white goat, baby goat.
Yeah, I love that one.
Starts bawing, like, bah, starts walking
It
over to
calls
him.
them all.
And he's like, and he basically calls the goats to come back to the guy.
Yeah.
And then I love how he just bends down like something kind for who knows how long. And he just hugs this baby goat, and the other goats are coming up around him. And it's like, how long had it been since he'd seen any kind of form of kindness, even from a goat? So I thought that was just such a sweet scene. I loved that goat. That goat was amazing. And it kept showing a
I
little
know
face.
that.
It was bawing. So
Yeah, no. It was really nice.
really sweet.
The connection, I mean, that's another part I really liked about this movie. Like,
Yeah.
because I mean, this movie, what happened was when I heard, so this movie is one that's studied in schools a lot. Like, it's meant to be like a, like like
Oh,
we
the
probably
book is?
studied. Yeah, the book is one
Yeah.
like like we
Okay.
probably definitely studied
Oh,
different
okay.
books in school to like study in English class and literature
Yeah.
class and things like that. This is something that's studied
I wish we'd
in
studied
Kerala
this.
by but
Yeah.
when I first heard that this was studied, I was like, what were they studying this? It's just a story about a guy walking through the desert. But when I watched it, I realized it had so many themes.
So
Like
much.
there's so much. And this movie is so dense and so jam packed with
Mhm.
just so many like I guess human themes that are there. So
Yeah.
it really it actually blindsided me a little bit. I was like, wow, this is a
Mhm.
really deep movie. But the
Yeah.
part you're talking about with the whole connection with the animals,
Yeah.
that's actually a part that's explored much more in the book. So I've
Oh,
not read
really?
the book,
Okay.
but from what I understand from the book, I read I mean the Wikipedia excerpt basically talks a little bit
Yeah.
about what the book explores, and it actually spends a lot more time with how close he is to the
Oh,
actual goats.
I did like that.
Because he's so the book is called The Goat Life.
Yeah.
And I don't think that this movie really puts it as a goat life because we don't see him become like a goat, but in the book he actually starts to see himself as like a goat.
Oh,
Like
okay.
that's the
Right.
only connection that he has with anybody. And there's even like a scene where he even gets like intimate like with the goat,
Oh,
which is
shit.
unbelievable.
We don't want
Yeah,
that. Ugh. Okay.
that wasn't in the movie. Apparently there is like
Thank you
again thank
for that. Thank you,
yeah,
Blessy.
yeah.
I did not want to see that. That would have repelled everybody in the audience. You don't want that.
No, but apparently there is apparently like a director's cut that's going to come out to OTT. And thank you for someone in my comment section had told me that there's a
Okay.
director's cut that's going to come out, and it's going to be a 3.5 hour movie, and it's going to include a lot more of sort of maybe not that this I don't know if they
Please
include that
no.
they might not,
Please do not
but
do that.
but they will show a lot more of the connection between what he had with the animals because I felt that was a little bit
Oh.
not as deep because I had that my favorite scene might have been with the animals was the one when he has to go. That part broke my heart. Like when he
Yes,
has to say goodbye to
back.
the
And he's like, "Do I
yeah.
wanna leave my goats? I leave my friends?" Like, I felt
Yes.
the same way. I almost didn't want to leave. Like, "You're leaving them.
No.
You're leaving your friends." I
Yeah,
know.
because they were his family and all.
Yeah.
That was like for
Yeah.
3.5 years, the only
Yeah.
people that showed him any kindness or any
That's
love
right.
was the goats and the
That's right.
camels. And otherwise it's just 24/7 just, beat downs and abuse and
Yes.
eating a bit of bread. you
Yeah.
know, that's really all.
I like too
But
where they come over and I think they threw him like a shank, like a they were trying to be
lamb shank,
nice. I guess
yeah.
they threw him a piece of not lamb shank, but I guess a piece of
Oh,
goat.
yeah, good, yeah, good,
And
yeah.
I like he was kinda like, "Thank you," and he's kinda like and he looks over and he sees all the goats. He goes, "I can't eat this.
Yeah,
I
no.
can't
Yeah,
eat this."
yeah.
I thought that was kinda great. But I did like that because I feel like they they gave the animals a lot of presence in his life, and it, like you said, was his only comfort. And
Yeah.
as he's getting more and more wild, I love how they have the symbolism of he's kind of shedding, by necessity. He keeps his plaid shirt for a very long time because he feels like this is linking me to my life. This is my old life. And like he kept his westernized, his Indian shirt. He didn't want to become like the savage, so he keeps hanging on to it. And then eventually he's like, shirt's got to go. It's fucking hot, and I don't want the shirt. And then I like how they show me he's walking, and his shoes are kind of falling apart, and they're coming off his feet. And I feel like he's shedding all of his humanity. And he's becoming just that. He's becoming almost like just an animal all at once. And then I like too, like at that point, everything's coming off. He takes off the he notices that water storage, and he starts taking everything off, and he's so skinny. I mean, it was CGI, but that's okay. It was well done. So he goes up and he's taking everything off. He looks super skinny, and I love that he was just pure humanity. Like has lost all that connected him to society, and he just goes over and just sitting under the water. And I like a is like, please give him water. Please let that faucet work. Like I was feeling parched just watching this movie. It's like, oh my God,
I know.
Give me some water.
Yep.
But this movie was beautifully shot.
Yeah,
incredible acting.
Amazing.
I think my favorite Prithviraj scene is where he's on the phone with, and this isn't really a spoiler, but he's on the phone with his wife for the first time in a billion years, whatever. His expressions, I mean, I was just like getting torn apart. He didn't even say anything, and the way he looked, like he was almost unrecognizable. I mean, he had the most expressive, just like he was full of hope and relief. At the same time, he was like, I am shredded inside. I don't even know how to process this human emotion like right now.
Yes.
But it was like, he's so good. And it's not what I expected at all from this actor. I thought, he'll be haunted and he'll go through the desert and be rough and everything, but all kinds of levels of emotion from this actor. I was blown away.
No, honestly, for me, I think it's like one of the best performances that I can I've seen. Like, to be honest, it was so impressive because I mean, like one with the expressions you're talking about, like how good he was with his facial expression. But what about the physical acting? Like the way he's sort of always crippling and walking through the desert, so difficult. And the second half, he can't even talk. It feels like he's like
just all grunting.
He can't even talk properly, but he's still able. He's able to so delicately express, enough to get that through. So he just played that, just perfectly. I can't remember. And the first half is basically just him. Like he's 100% the only actor in the entire movie. It feels like the only one that's doing anything, and he does so much. So it was his performance to me was one of the best I think I can remember. Like I know there've been some good movies this year from the Malayalam film industry, but for me, Prithviraj's performance in this movie, to me, this is the top one for me.
This is a top one, and I thought the music was, I was a little afraid when I saw A.R. Rahman on this because I thought it's going to be too much. Like, are they going to make it overwrought? Like, because this is a delicate movie. Like, I feel like there's a lot. At first, I was a little worried when I saw the tornado, the big sandstorm with the camels. I'm like, what the hell is happening in this? What the hell is this? But then I like that. Like, it's a very delicate, emotional movie, and it's very light. I thought if we have this big heart wrenching music that's just bombastic, but it was very delicate. Yeah, and they didn't overdo it, and he did this just perfect. Just you feel like you were sort of feeling. Almost like sometimes like a little whisper of water. The music felt like water to me once in a while. Like he's almost remembering water, and you'd hear the music and you're hearing like, oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah. So I love that. It was really well done. And like you're saying, that picture, the shots of them walking across the desert at the end seemed endless. I mean, that just looked brutal. The way they were all kind of rickety, trying to move, and it did not feel fake at all. I felt like his little calves were so skinny, and he was like trying to move, and the way the stuff hung off of him, like, oh my God. What the hell?
It was incredible. I mean, this the cinematic experience that you're mentioning, like one with the music. So I think it was I still have to look up a little bit. It was A.R. Rahman, another sound director. I'm forgetting his name.
Was. That's right.
I think Rasul something. He was there, and he was also like, I think so I'm not exactly sure who does what in terms of sound design versus score, versus soundtrack. So I'm not exactly sure where that sort of ends necessarily. But whoever did the sound design, he also is I found this out through my comment section as well.
Okay.
He had done the sound design for Slumdog Millionaire, and he won the Oscar for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So he definitely knows what he's doing. I think I've found him.
Well, that's A.R. Rahman, right? Rahman did the some of the.
I don't know. So there was a sound designer by the name of Rasul Pukuti.
Okay.
So he's the sound designer. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
Air
sound
Rahman also
design.
did
Okay.
the score for, I guess, what you call it, was it Slumdog Millionaire as well, which he won the. I'm not sure if
Right.
he won the Oscar for that.
Yes.
Probably did.
Yep. Oh,
But
there's
yeah, I mean, so that's one thing with the
yeah.
sound. But I mean, what made the visuals really good in this to me, like,
Yeah.
there have been some really like fantastic visual like spectacles in the Malayalam film industry,
Mhm.
especially as of late. When I think of Lijay Pilisari, especially in
Yeah.
Malakotte Vailaban, which was a fantastic, beautiful movie,
Yeah.
and he did some stuff with the camera that's amazing, and he used the camera like in a really exceptional way. But what this
Yeah.
movie I think did really well is, one, it's aesthetically beautiful,
Mhm.
but it's just the fact that it keeps repeating itself and showing you the vastness and the
Yeah.
never-ending nature of the
Yeah.
desert and how brutal it
The
is.
sameness.
It just basically helps to emphasize the fact that how small we are and how
Yeah.
we are so insignificant compared to
Yeah.
nature. And
Nature's
I love
gonna
playing with
win.
I
Nature
love
always
playing with
wins.
that theme. I
Yes.
love that theme. Like, and that's another thing that's explored in this novel and I guess this movie as well. And particularly in this movie, fantastic,
It
because
was so
they
good.
do it so well. It wasn't just great visually for the sake of being great visually. It was great
Yeah.
visually, and it had so much impact, which I
It did.
that's where it should be. That's where
Yeah.
style and substance come together and make something great.
That's right. That's
You know?
right. I also liked the scene where he's herding his goats and a big storm is coming in, so he has to get them all. Like it scared them all, and they're kind of scattering, and he really has to use all of his goat herding skills to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
them all into a cave, which I thought was a cool thing. And then they're all just kind of riding out the storm together in the cave. They're all just hanging out together.
yeah,
He's kind of snuggled with them, and it's all very sweet. And you're like, oh, that's kind of a nice moment. Like goat herding,
yeah.
it seemed like he's kind of making it work and he's finding comfort in it. And then I was like kind of blown away. Then all of a sudden he sees his friend.
I know.
Like,
I was surprised. Yeah, I was like,
what?
what?
Like I was like, oh my God, this is like the best day he's had in
Yeah,
forever, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that was really
yeah.
cool. So we don't want to give away too many spoilers, but there's
Yeah,
some
yeah,
really great, like there's some big highs, and then it makes the lows even more intense because you
yeah.
see like the hope and the yearning and the need, and then you see it fall apart, and he comes back up and it falls apart. But again, the goats were very cute.
Yeah.
And the camels were pretty cute too.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah, I like the
um,
camels too.
that was very cute.
Yeah.
But I really like this movie. I didn't really have any really hardcore criticisms about it. I mean, I
Mm,
think because I wanted to get to the survival aspect, I felt like the first act was maybe a little long. I mean, I would like to see them
mm.
just dropped in and done, and then there they are. But it took a while to get going. But at the same time, I think that was okay because we were seeing the
Yeah,
slow disintegration. Once I saw the whole movie, when I was getting a little impatient in the beginning, I understand why they did it, and it made sense to me. So
yeah, same,
I was okay with
same.
that.
No, I was the same boat. In the first half, I was actually a bit worried about that because it was like it really like doubled down and tripled down on that, the torture he was going through. And I was like, okay, like this is longer than I expected. I actually thought he'd be making an escape sooner than this. Like I thought the movie, like however
Yeah.
long it was, I thought the movie would have like accelerated that a bit more
Yeah.
because that's sort of what the movie was. I guess that's what I thought it'd be about, his escape and not just
Yeah.
his sort of, I guess,
Yeah,
his
that he was out
capture.
there by himself trying to survive in the
Yeah.
wilderness, right? Yeah.
But then I think the second half, the way it picked up and by
Yeah.
the end of it, I was like, it all made sense. Like the frustration I had in the first half all disappeared as soon as the second half started.
Yeah.
And it was worth it. So yeah,
It's totally
that
worth
all
it.
made sense as well. So I
Yeah.
didn't have any issue with the pacing of the movie
No.
at all. Like I think it was
Nope.
balanced perfectly between the first
That
and
sounds
second half.
great.
They were different enough so that they felt different, which is important,
Yeah.
I feel.
Mhm.
And they complemented each other really
Yeah.
well. So
They did.
yeah, it was. I mean, I don't have any major criticisms. I had some questions around sort of some of the, I guess, decision making in the movie, which I talked a little bit in my review. Like I was a bit confused as to how this can happen to somebody to just go, into a foreign country and not know who you're meant to be contact, not know what's meant to happen, and then just have your papers torn up in front of you and then being
Yeah.
trapped. There are some questions I had around that, but I think those kind of things are not what this movie is really about. And I do respect the fact that this movie is, as we talked about, Benjamin,
Mm.
Benjamin, the writer, he was very closely associated with the movie.
Oh, good.
Like he was like in the, we saw even that in that sort of making of, he was part of sort of the
Right.
crew, he was part of the team. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they would have been like, we're going to focus on these areas because this is what the book is about. Let's not
Right.
focus too much on those areas, which I'm okay with. Like if you
Mhm.
have a script, it's
Yeah.
you want to stick to that script and the story. So it made sense.
Yeah, you don't want to dilute like the visual message because like reading you're putting it all together in your head, whereas
Yeah.
film is showing you. Sometimes I think sometimes you get too close to a book because it's mostly an internal kind of dialogue. Really, if you go to the movie and you try and include too much, that dilutes the movie, and people are like, like I say. So I think they did a good job on condensing the story as much as
Correct.
they could without feeling like they were rushing it. So I was fine. I thought it was fantastic. If this guy doesn't get a Best Actor nomination, I don't know what's going on.
If he doesn't win the award, then I don't know what's going on. Like I'd be surprised if he doesn't win. For like I don't mean just the Kerala State Award. I mean the actual like the National Indian Award. You know that he should be getting that. If he's not, then that's a crime.
Yes, because this is one of those almost life-changing type performances. He took a long time to do it. He had a lot of physical stuff to inhabit the character he had to do by gaining and losing weight, because he even looked a little heavy in the beginning. Then I'm used to seeing like he was all buff in Salar, but then he looked like a little bit. So I feel like you got to see that contrast, or even his face, like it just felt filled out. And then you see him just like, getting thinner and thinner. And I think, you see a performance like that, it's external and internal, where he's so full of emotion without even, like you said, no dialogue. He's basically talking like a goat. He's basically like, he didn't really have it. That's how the goats communicate. I feel like he was kind of moving into that territory. But even when he gets to see people to talk, he almost can't even talk when he meets people, like in the desert or wherever. All like they're trying to communicate. But thought it was fantastic. I'm so glad I got to see it. I'm glad we got to talk about it.
Yes, very much.
You in, because I know you thought we were kind of texting back and forth, and you were just like,
I'm
gonna go live, and I'm like, I'm gonna see you later. I was sad. I thought I wasn't gonna be able to see it, but I did find the screenings. Yay!
Awesome.
So let us know what you think about this film. I'm very interested in everybody's the dialogue about this movie in the comments, and how it compares to the book, and do you think they pulled it off?
Yes.
And are you just thinking Prithviraj is like the next coming right now because he is so good?
I'm a little confused, because this is definitely a great performance from him, but then he's also in like a lot of Bollywood movies and things like that now. So I'm not exactly sure what the next path for him is. He's obviously proven himself as one of the most exceptional actors in this kind of movie. So skill set wise and acting wise, he can do anything after he can do this. I think like he's such a great dramatic actor, but it just depends what he wants to do next. So it's really, keep an eye on that. Like, what does he want to do next? Does he want to do more commercial stuff? Then he can do something in Bollywood.
Well,
because this is definitely not a commercial movie.
Well, it's kind of an art house, but it's a very high profile art house. So it's sort of like the most commercial of art house film, and it's based on a famous book, so it has a lot going for it. But at the same time, I think it took a long time to make, and the movie wasn't out yet. So he probably did this performance. The movie's not coming out yet, so he's booking all these other movies that are maybe not as taxing physically or mentally. Maybe he just needs a break. But I bet now that this is out, directors are going to be going, huh? Wow, let's get this guy. So he's probably getting meatier stuff now. Now that once the sand settles, once the sand, he'll probably start getting more of those beefy roles, because I can't imagine at this point he's probably gonna be trying to knock them all down, because there'll be so many people knocking on his door right now.
This is I would say like a career changing kind of moment for him, I think. And like I'm honestly gonna say, like, I don't know if he's gonna have a performance like this ever again. Like it's
an actor's good to have one. They're lucky to have one like this.
Yeah, like this performance is like beyond good. It's like exceptional. Like so I'm not really trying to say it's a bad thing if he doesn't ever reach this like level again, because it's so high that it'll be hard to obtain.
It's and it would be hard to do, just emotionally. It's exhausting. Like you almost wouldn't want to. I think what you can do is maybe not necessarily lighter fare, but maybe it's more, less physically taxing, and like more, emotionally expressive and challenging for him, as versus like having to gain and lose weight and talk to goats.
The physical aspect's a tough one.
The physical aspects, exactly. So all right, well, let us know what you think, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
See ya.